It's Bert Leonard Whiteman, First Nation from Stadium Buffalo. It's just about 40 minutes east of Regina. You know where Fort Capel is? In that valley, that's where I'm from. I remember a couple times I took my brother and I would go and hide in garbage cans, and we stayed this one time in a garbage can for almost 3 days, and we ate out of it. And you know, I'm like 4, my brother's 3 years old, and we're eating garbage, you know. And this man came, he was throwing out garbage one day, and he saw us, and we were hiding underneath it, but he saw us and stuff. And I remember he was just, you know, what are you guys doing in here? He was a really kind old guy, you know, a really nice guy. And he was talking to us and asked if we had anything to eat, and took us inside, and then our mom found us. Well, she got all mad and stuff. At that time, I'd started to give up, you know, because it was always the same thing. It was always, you know, my mom was drinking, we'd get locked up, and then we'd get beat up, and we'd have no food. And, you know, my brother and I had to sometimes I'd have to starve because I didn't want my brother to go hungry. So, you know, there would be only mustard sometimes. So, you know, we'd go a mustard sandwich, and, you know, as long as he was eating, you know, I didn't care if I didn't eat for a couple of days. As long as my brother had something to eat, that meant more to me. Yeah, it was just like, is this ever going to end? Well, we went to this one particularly brutal foster home, and the very first day I went to that home, I was accused of fooling around and touching my brother, and I never ever did anything like that. And that home was the most brutal I've ever been through. I was tortured in that house. I had to beg for my life. I was left screaming and crying. I was tied up in the basement sometimes, left in the dark. Their favorite thing was to take me into the bathroom and tie me up from the shower head there, and just tie me up and hang me like this, and turn the cold water on, and just let me just dangle there. And he would come in with a knife, like a big butcher knife like this. And I've got various little cuts. Some of these slash marks are my own, but I have over 72 cuts and stuff on my body and stuff. And that's from him just flick me and cut me in. And then he would take it and he'd, you know, go down there and say, I'm going to cut that off. And blah, blah, blah. And he'd say, you know, get me to, you know, beg for my life and scream and cry and stuff like that. And then, you know, they would do other things and stuff.
This goes out to all my people. Worldwide love until we're all equals. Medicine, mind state, counteract the evil. A nation's healing through the arts, life has no sequel. This goes out to all my people. Worldwide love until we're all equals. Medicine, mind state, counteract the evil. All nations healing through the arts, life has no sequel. To all of you, I know you have it in you. Strength to stand up, fight to continue. Feel it in your bones and down to the sinew. Life can move on no matter what you have been through. We're not so different, feeling lost sometimes. Know what to run to except for these rhymes. Drawing, dancing on a big hill to climb. People ask you how you are, you say you're just fine. Chills up the spine, thrill from creation. Healing through these lines, one love to all nations. Everyone lives like all my relations. Power to performance, all it takes is some patience.
My name is Monica Fogel, and I'm the Artistic Director for All Nations Healing Through Arts. I started this project in 1999 because I felt that there was a need for North Central youth and youth in general to be able to have a place where they can express themselves artistically, and to give them a safe place to be able to hang out and do some positive things in their community. One of the main reasons why I started doing what I was doing is because for many years I was on the streets, and thanks to self-help programs and just, getting in touch with myself and my higher power and just basically changing my life. I felt that, they say in the program you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. So I thought, if the arts was helping me, it would probably help the youth. And that's basically why I do what I do, just to reach out to the kids and to give them an opportunity to express themselves artistically and give them a venue to showcase their talents. A lot of these kids, they can't afford to be in programs such as this. So since we've become incorporated, we were able to receive federal, provincial, and city funding to continue doing after-school programming. So here we are.
I'm Shirley Bonk, and I'm an elder and a kokum to these children that Monica rounded up. My compassion is for helping the young kids that have an alcohol problem, drug problem, behavioral problem, simply because I came from that kind of living. I grew up with those problems. And when I heard that Monica was having this sort of organization and what she did, I joined forces because this is where I knew I would be needed.
My name is Ron Dean Harris, but better known as Oz 12 on stage and in the music industry. Ended up coming out here last year to do workshops and record music with the youth, and here I am again, 2011. I think there's a lot of people that like to make music, but they don't really know where to start.
Yeah.
Right? So you just have a pile of rhyme books and no direction of how to start, and it's intimidating to some people. To you've got like people like Jay-Z, you got 50 Cent, and they're throwing money at the camera, telling you that you're broke and that you're never gonna, you know what I mean, and glorifying this opulence of thinking that money is the important factor to make art, but it's not.
My name is Josh. I call myself Notice, Unknown Static. I'm from St. Thomas, Ontario, and I'm 21. But yeah, my buddy Ryan told me about it. He's a breakdancer. They needed some rappers. He told me to come scope it out and be a part of the program. Ever since I've been part of it, this is my 3rd year taking part. It's been rapping. I was part of one dance. I started writing back in 2003, and we formed a group in 2007, and we've been recording since. I sing about life, make girl songs, try and make positive songs people can relate to, the life that I lived. I've been to a lot of schools, I know a lot of people, and now when they see me performing on stage and making music, they become my fans.
I started from the ground up with nothing really. So I wanted to be able to teach youth that they could do that as well, just by focusing and having drive and just practicing and honing their art. We choose to vent our anger and express it in different ways, and I've learned that words and music are really powerful things. Art is a magic in a sort because we use sounds and symbols and words to change consciousness, but that can also go in a negative way to where it can hurt people.
Yeah.
So when I talk to these guys and girls about writing music, I try to get them to challenge themselves as well, to say something positive so it empowers themselves and then the people in their community around them.
My name is Delano Redwood. I'm 21 and my reserve is Causas. I'm locked down right now on the ankle bracelet, so yeah, trying to do better for myself to not be in trouble. I'm still dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
From Monica, when I was locked up, I guess I talked to her over the phone, and every single day I've been writing raps and telling her my new stuff every single day. And that's how I knew about ANHJ was with Josh. Yeah. That's how I got part of this. Just through my brother. I don't know, it just keeps me out of trouble, just instead of drinking and partying and all that, just some fun, and it's different. I like it, I enjoy it a lot. Well, it's just things that in my life, what I don't know, went through. Try to put it in stories and put it in, try to put it all together, and somehow it just comes out like that. And it's different, like you use a different part of your brain. It's like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's why I stick with it, because it might make a difference. Yeah. I just want people to hear us and just to remember us, I guess.
I come from a background of violence and alcohol, and that's a hard combination to come out of, because it's mostly of one's own making. I made a choice to drink. I didn't have to. I made a choice to be violent, and I had to sacrifice and turn my life around so that I could do some good in this world, give some positive things back to my community that I took out so negatively. I want to place myself in places now that I could help these young people, and that drugs and alcohol are not cool, violence is not cool. Whereas when I was young, like these kids, I used to think it was cool to be drunk, and I guess that was part of my growing up.
My name is Josh Goff. I am a graffiti artist from Regina. I go underneath the alias True. I write with a collective called the 11 Hooks. I was contacted by Monica. She had heard about me through the people that she was working with there, like as in the students. And the students asked me, or they asked her to get me on board, and then then we started talking from there, and then kind of spoke with Monica about what I wanted to do with the kids, and then she really liked it and then got me on board. I really liked the program that she was doing because it seemed that it was a little bit more open in the sense of that some programming is very tight and not open-minded about the way that they interact with the kids, and I saw that she had a very open communication with them, and that it would have had more substance to it. So I really liked that part to what she was doing there, and that's kind of why I went with it. I think they're great. I think they're probably one of the most important things to keep people out of boredom. You know, like a lot of people in this city, you know, whether you're 14 years old or you're, you know, like myself, 28, you always find yourself getting to that point of, oh, there's nothing to do today, you know. And so, you know, what Monica and what the program was doing was, you know, allowing the kids to have some sort of activity, so that not generally that it, you know, keeps them out of trouble all the time, but just for that time that they're there, you know, they're doing something productive. So I believe that, you know, it's very important, no matter if you're coming from like an at-risk situation, or that you're from a, you know, a really stable, healthy background or whatever. Like, it's, you know, beneficial to everybody. They were a lot of fun. They learned quite a bit from what I could tell, you know, like, they brought something to the table which they already had, which was the talent, and then I kind of gave them some direction with it, and then yeah, in the end we did the mural, and I was really happy with that, and there was a lot of good times, a lot of good laughing, and, you know, just generally having a good experience. It wasn't overly serious, which I really like, you know, because sometimes with programs they try to get too in-depth to the point where they start losing, you know, what they're there to do, and that's to give them a good experience, you know, but also to teach them as well, and I hope they do. I hope they have learned something from it, but in the long run, yeah, I think they both had, you know, me and them had a lot of fun doing this.
I'm believing too that it's necessary to have an elder or a kukum or a grandpa to be in these places, so because sometimes young people listen. They know we've been through life. They know if it was a harsh life and how they survived it. And I think that's important for them to know, that they also have to go through harsher things while they're drinking and drugging than it is to smarten up.
So I'm Anne McDonald and I teach the creative writing part. We look at some aspects of theatre some of the time, depending upon the interest of the participants and the time period. So mostly we work with creative writing and aiming at I'm discovering over time that they're mostly interested in non-fiction. They're interested in writing about themselves and writing stories. Not really fictional stories, they're interested in telling about themselves. Whether they want to share that or not is a different story, but that's where their interests are.
My name is Jordan. I'm 17. I'm from Gordon's First Nations, and I go to Scott Collegiate in grade 11. I've always been able to write. I was just like poetry. I read a lot of songs, a bunch of stuff like that. Some of the stuff I went through, you know, some love poems, love songs, stuff like that.
Sweet.
Some stuff that what I see,
Oh, yeah.
like people like living in poverty and stuff like that. I write a lot about that.
They've actually done literary work that's like incredibly evocative and love and done and just like great literary work that's gone. Just they take it home and it's gone. So it's I mean they've got things like write something without naming it. And that's kind of ethereal, a little bit maybe hard to wrap your head around. And they all came out with great things. An arrest on New Year's Eve and being thrown into the drug tank without naming it. You know, like just like passed out, spittle, drunk, gunk out of my face, kicked. A visit to Jack to an ex-boyfriend. But all these things described without naming what it was. And it really evocative, like just great stuff.
So my name is Matthew Hannemuns. I'm a writer in ANHTA this year.
I'm Valeria Dorian, and I'm also a writer.
I'm Shaylee Canapace, and I'm a writer too. There are some things you can't admit to anybody. Not even to your parents, not even to your friends, and not even to yourself. Maybe because saying it out loud, acknowledging it, makes it more real. And the more real it is, the more frightening it becomes.
It's a really interesting and intriguing group to work with because they're coming from such varied backgrounds and diverse backgrounds and similar in the sense of the situations that they've gone through. And you can hear as much as you want about that, but you don't actually know it until you hear them saying it, and it's quite powerful what they've gone through and what they have to say, and that's really important, I think, to share. So it's really important for them to write it because that can be transformative, just to get it out, to hear it valued and validated, and then for them actually to be willing to type it, send it, and have it published makes a huge difference, I think, to them and also to the world. I don't think they necessarily always see that can be a really valuable thing to have it published because they're kids, right? Maybe they don't feel the worth of themselves, even their own worth of their stories, and that's hard to get them to see sometimes.
It's nice to get my emotions out on paper and what I feel and everything and what I've been through my whole life, and just to let people know what I've been through, and like I'm not the only one that's been through like a lot, and I know people are out there and they need to hear it. If they hear what I've been through, then maybe they want to get out what they've been through and like tell people.
It calls out for you whenever I am alone. The flames grow higher when you are near. My heart starts to race when you are in sight. Butterflies swarm my stomach when you smile. I start to melt when you hold me close. This is how I know my love is real.
It's quite astonishing, that they choose to come in the first place, whether they write anything or not, almost, or do anything, the art or the dance, that they choose to be here and not be on the street, that they choose to be someplace safe, that they choose to be connected with each other, that they create this community is a phenomenal step in the first place. So you just don't know where that can go from there. To build some self-worth, to build some self-esteem, to build the community, that can make a huge difference. To have that connection, and too, what we're working with, like asking them what would they change and who needs to hear that, and what solutions can they come up with. It's a little bit slow going, but if they can come up with some of that, then that's enormous. There's no saying where those voices could be heard and what difference that could make.
Well, for this time here, I wrote a short story, which is a suicide script from son to mother. And then I also have a couple other short pieces that are being submitted.
I got a bunch of poems about various things submitted right now and one short story.
Well, I wrote some poems, and I'm writing a monologue right now about pregnancy and about this girl, and she doesn't know what to do and doesn't know who to tell. And there's another one about abuse, and this little kid getting abused when he was little and doesn't know who to turn to.
Death like a cold blanket, wrapping me up in my darkest hours, suffocating all happiness, while bathing me in desolation, a sweet embrace. A welcome thought is an escape to it all. My only other solace is the lucid grip of insanity. The caverns of my mind a gentle playground, a meeting place for the thoughts, temptations, fears, and concerns. The proverbial melting pot of all that is fucked with me. So yeah, when I was approached with this chapbook idea, I was told the basic guideline was think about the healing process. And in a way, I think she sort of wanted us to get the writing out so that way we can start sharing some more of our experiences, because a lot of people don't really pay attention to what happens when the mind kind of gets darker. People like to try and stray away from that type of stuff, and I think Monica's really trying to push it, try and make people face it, because it is a reality.
Hey sexy lady.
How you doing? I'm Chip, and I'm the choreographer for All Nations Healing Through the Arts. I started off, and I'm still a performer. My experiences have taken me New York, Los Angeles, Tennessee, cruise ships, Toronto, Edmonton, kind of all over the map. So after having performed for, 20 years, I want to bring back my experiences and pass it on. There's so much talent here, and I don't think Regina knows how much of a hotspot. Like, a lot of performers have had to leave because there is no work. But these people have come from Saskatchewan, and they're out making a living. And if I can give that back and send some of these people out into the world, into the entertainment or whatever they want to do, with the skills that they need to make it.
My name's Sarah Ovey. I'm 18. I go to Martin Collegiate, and I'm from Pipe Pots First Nations. When I first started 3 years ago, my cousin brought me to Scott, and that's where it was at first, and then I just fit it in after that.
I started 2 years ago, and kind of on the fly, Monica knew that I choreographed, so she asked me to come and choreograph their 2009 show. So I did, and it just continued on from there. The biggest reward for me is the creative process, and then when I see these kids come in, and some of them have no dance background whatsoever, and they come in and they learn how to stretch, how to follow direction, how to learn different styles of dance, and then ultimately we get to what the show is right now. Like, one of the other challenges too is because everybody comes from different backgrounds and different expectations and different obligations and whatever, is finding that time and the patience to get everybody up to snuff, because some people learn like that, other people it takes longer time. We have people that dropped out because they've gotten sick. We've had people move away. So the other big challenge getting it to show time is getting the numbers done and getting them blocked into the people that are going to be in the show. Yeah. Like I said, we've had people move away. People that have gotten sick that for whatever reason, jobs have come up and they've had to quit. I have to reblock the show again, and have to reteach, get new people in, which is fine. It's fun. And it's exciting to bring new people in so they can, they bring a new energy into the group, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So
I like the people, I like the program, and I like to dance and act and I don't know, everything. Something to do. I've always liked dancing, and I've always been, I don't know, like very outgoing. So it's like, I think it builds up like your self-esteem and being able to be around people and not being shy and because that's how I used to be before. Like, I was shy around people I didn't know, and I was shy to do stuff, but when it came to people I did know, I wasn't very shy at all. I was very like outspoken and outgoing. Builds up your skills that you never thought you had. Like, I didn't think I could really dance, because I just like mostly just goofed around about it, but coming here made me realize that I could dance, and so yeah.
I think the biggest challenge as a choreographer is learning how to take everybody's styles and attitudes and personalities and get them to the point where everybody comes together as an ensemble.